Hello and welcome to our video presentation on improving caregiver empathy. We hope you find this information helpful. In this video, we will be discussing the following. What is empathy? Connecting through emotions and mindfulness, the Empathy Acronym, tips for showing empathy, and compassion fatigue. First, let's discuss what empathy is. An academic medicine article defines empathy as the distilling or connecting of feelings and meanings that are associated with a resident's experience while simultaneously identifying, isolating, and withholding one's own reactions. In simpler terms, empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person emotionally. Empathy is not sympathy. It is engagement. For non-communicative residents, empathy allows these residents to develop strength and resilience while sympathy weakens them. In order to show empathy, it is important to recognize emotions. You do this first by identifying the emotion being expressed. Study the person's face, as this gives you signals for what the person is feeling. Once you think you know the emotional state of the other person, you can start to match the emotions being expressed. This is similar to what would happen if a friend were telling you about something awful that happened to them. You would naturally match their emotion with your facial expression and often with your tone of voice. Then enter into the feelings of the resident. Clear yourself of your own thoughts and feelings. Let's now discuss how cognitive empathy can help with caregiving. Cognitive empathy uses understanding and respect for the emotion being expressed, as well as being non-judgmental about it. How do we use cognitive empathy? Center yourself and clear away your thoughts and feelings. Observe the resident to recognize what emotions they're showing. If your feelings get in the way, breathe, and then observe the resident more closely. Know the history of the resident to give yourself a deeper understanding of what is going on. When you think you've figured out the emotion, say it. Next, we will discuss mindfulness and empathy. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness means being alert, aware, and completely involved with residents and their families in the present moment. This is ideal for residents who are unable to communicate, and it aids caregivers in attending to the needs of residents. Mindfulness creates an environment where residents are understood, respected, treated with dignity, and positively affected. The following are some benefits commonly associated with being mindful: prevention of relapse for major depressive disorders, effective management of chronic pain and medical conditions, counteract anxiety and other post-traumatic stress disorders, and improvement in quality of life. Let's now discuss some mindful communication practices. First, know your audience. You do this by understanding the resident's complicated situation, knowing that this often includes health challenges. Second, ask questions. Learn about the resident. Ask the resident and resident's family about the resident's likes, dislikes, hobbies, etc. This knowledge helps you and the resident connect. Third, discard scripts. Don't be a robot. Treat each resident as an individual human being. Be specific with each resident, as this conveys dignity and respect. And finally, recognize your role. Recognize that you are personable, but also professional. Be compassionate, focused, and attentive to the resident. Let's now discuss the Empathy Acronym and how this can be used to show empathy. The Empathy Acronym can help staff communicate with non-communicative residents effectively and with dignity. E. Eye contact. Usually, this is the first signal that someone has been noticed by another person. This makes residents feel seen and heard. M. Muscles of facial expression. This includes recognizing residents' expressions and mirroring them. P. Posture. Understand that different postures communicate different things. Take a more open posture, which includes facing forward, legs and arms uncrossed, and leaning towards someone. A. Affect. Identify what a resident is feeling and naming it. T. Tone of voice. It is suggested to match the volume and tone of the person you are talking to and using a soothing tone to make someone feel heard. However, when someone is communicating outrage, moderating your tone is more appropriate. H. Hearing. Empathic listening means asking questions that help people express what's really going on and listening without judgment. Why? Your response. This doesn't have to do with what you'll say next, but rather how you resonate with the person. Let's move on to tips for showing empathy. Make eye contact. Look up when answering questions. Let residents know you're listening. Nod or paraphrase. Use open-ended questions. Be aware of your body language. Sitting shows you aren't rushed. Folded arms may show that you're impatient. Be curious about the resident and ask questions. Record details that humanize the resident. Don't just check off boxes. Learn about their life. Show support to the resident by acknowledging their wants and needs. Look for deeper ways to empathize with the resident. Discover a resident's story and identify common ground. Next, let's talk about compassion fatigue and what compassion fatigue is. Compassion fatigue occurs when people take on the suffering of others who have experienced trauma or stress. It can cause burnout or secondary traumatic stress. Compassion fatigue can hit out of the blue. People experiencing compassion fatigue are less able to empathize. The following are some strategies to combat compassion fatigue. Establish emotional boundaries. Separate from a resident's pain while still maintaining a caring relationship. Take time for self-care. Eat well, get rest, exercise, relax, etc. Make time for hobbies and friends outside of the workplace. Here on this screen are some resources you can check out to learn more about caregiver empathy. Thank you for watching our video presentation on improving caregiver empathy. We hope you found this information helpful.